Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, collectors of all ages, it is Aussieverse, proudly sponsored by Comic Bookaroo. Thank you for joining us today for a very early special episode. Thanks to IPI Comics. I am Omnibo, joined by Single Issue Steve and the Sharif. But not only that, today it's all about the Matron, and we have David, Monica, and Jason with their respective roles as script writers, artists, and editors. And today we are talking all about the beauty that is the Matron baby. How are you guys?
Hey there.
Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us. I know that it's not so early for you guys, but it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, and in New Mexico where I am, it's 2:30, and in Texas where Monica is, it's 3:30. So
3:30, yeah. Is it like 8:30 a.m. for you guys?
Yeah, for Sharif, it's 7:30. The poor bastard. Oh. Yeah. James, thank you for joining us, dude.
Morning, James.
So, look, first thing that I just want to say quickly here is I'm just going to put myself a little bit bigger here for 1 sec. I just want to say thank you to IPI Comics because you've made it in the industry when they start sending you free comics for you to read and for you to have a look at. And not only did they send us the foil version of the Matron, which when I opened the package, I immediately looked at this and went, wow, that's really cool. And it's a flip book. More on that in just a sec. But they also sent me their trade of the Human Fly and the Super Australians. Now, both of these are some pretty big trades as well, which I'm not used to seeing such thickness in one trade. So if you're after a lot of content, go check out IPI Comics for a list of their stuff because it's really, really cool. We might talk a little bit about that later, but let's get back to our guests and the Matron. Who wants to go first?
well, I mean, I guess it makes sense to talk about the origin of the Matron, so I'm happy to field that since I am one of the co-creators, right?
So go, buddy.
Yeah, Drew Edwards, the other author who couldn't be here today, had been tapped a few years ago, maybe about a decade ago, to come up with a pitch for a continuation of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And he had come up with this idea. At the time, he was working as a butcher, and he was traveling back and forth between a larger city in Texas and smaller towns in Texas. And he would pass by and see the gentrification of these towns and how things were changing. And it occurred to him that it would be interesting to see that happen in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre universe and what happens to that family of cannibal killers when there's a Starbucks opening up next door to their murder house. And, it ultimately the company that had tapped him to do it lost the rights to the comic books of that franchise. And so he lost the opportunity to do it. But we were chatting at a conference, a comic conference for teens. And he was telling me this, and I was like, bro, there's no reason that you couldn't just continue with this idea. Just strip away, file off the serial numbers, all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre trappings, and tell a modern story that's about what happens to slashers when they suddenly are in the midst of gentrification. And I said, in fact, if you would be down for it, let's do it together. And we started thinking about different possibilities, a way to portray Central Texas, which is where the original franchise was set, in a way that really reflects Texas, because a lot of people just have this idea of Texas, and I'm sure that it's anywhere around the world. Texas is basically, cowboy boots and like steers and, like
ZZ Top.
Yeah, ZZ Top, something like that, right? But Texas is like, it's an enormous state, and it's the size of like multiple other states. Many nations around the world are smaller, and the central part of the state is largely a blend culturally of Mexican, Czech, and German culture with some like Anglo-American culture thrown in. And we really wanted to dig into that, and we also wanted to kind of take the idea from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Leatherface. He really doesn't have a whole lot of agency. He's not necessarily even like a cruel person at all. He's kind of like the family attack dog. And we wanted for our slasher to have more agency. And so we were like, what if we gender flipped it? What if instead of being like the the child with deformities or whatever who becomes the killer. What if it's the matriarch of the family that does? And so bit by bit we started spitballing these ideas, and as we kept saying matriarch, eventually Drew started calling her Matron by accident, but we realized that it was a cooler idea because it kind of puts across this idea of a strong older woman who maybe is not viewed the way a younger woman would be, and we wanted her to be an axe murderer. So having because a woman who can working class woman of Slavic descent who can clearly you can imagine her picking up an axe and cleaving someone's head with it. That was definitely part of the pull. And since we wanted it to be centered in that Czech German milieu, we started digging into the mythology of the Slavic peoples that had come to Texas in the 1800s. And that's where we found some really great inspiration in the goddess Marana, who's a goddess of winter, who, in order for spring to come, there are usually these ceremonies in Moravia, where a lot of the Czech people in Texas came from, where children take an effigy of the goddess into the forest, and then they burn her and drown her. They just kind of great. Kind of, fuck you, Winter. You're out of here, right? And they really do a number on her. And we were watching a video of it, and the effigy had this this face, like a wooden white painted face with red lines on it, and it was so striking and so chilling that we were like, that's the look. We wanted to create an iconic feminist slasher. And it's so hard to create something iconic. And when you think of the major iconic horror figures, from Jason to Freddy to Michael Myers, whatever, they're all men. There's not really an iconic looking woman slasher, although arguably the Ghostface in the Scream movies has been a woman multiple times. And we wanted to do something like that. And so that tie-in was really what kind of cemented the look. We had my daughter Loba, who is a tattoo artist and illustrator, to do some character design work, and we were off and running.
Wow, what a wonderful Christmas tale!
It's definitely
yeah. And I haven't even touched on what the story is actually about, which is a small town that through gentrification causes this woman in her late 50s to lose her job and lose her home. And then she's like, hey, you know what? The rich are coming in and taking everything from me, so I'm now going to kill and eat the rich. And so it's also kind of a bit of a, maybe a little on the nose kind of fable about late stage capitalism in the United States.
I don't remember Sleepaway Camp. Does anybody remember that one?
I haven't seen that one.
It's been a long time since I saw it. It's the 80s.
Okay, I was going to say, because the only female lead that I can remember off the top of my head would be The Ring, and I don't even know if you really get that, because it's even though it's a woman, it's really more of a entity kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't.
But she's definitely not a slasher, right? She's, when you think of slasher horror films, she's a supernatural entity, like you say. Definitely very iconic. But yeah.
Well, that's what got me into the book, because when I first started reading it, the first few pages, I felt like it was just a typical slasher sort of story. But then as you go deeper into the pages, you start to realize, hang on, there's actually a lot more involved with this, because it goes into the supernatural a bit, and you're like, hang on a minute, I didn't pick up on that. What is that about? You want to know more about it. The art is fantastic. It's a really great read, man. We'll go more into that in just a sec. But Monica, how did you approach them? Did they approach you for the art? How did that work, getting you on board?
No, I lucked out. I met Drew at a convention, because Drew's always at conventions. That's probably where he is right now. He lives at conventions. I met him at a convention years ago, and he had seen some of my cryptid art. So I do all these cryptids of every state, and I'm branching out to do other countries. And so for some reason that made him think that I could draw a serial killer comic, which is ironic, because I was pitching a young adult horror comic, turning a young adult horror novel into a comic, and they said my style was too cartoony. So it made me laugh that I was allowed to do this, and it worked. But yeah, no, I've never gotten to draw. I've drawn some like action, like assassin comics, but I've never done like full slasher and cannibalism and all that stuff. So it's really
It turns your stomach sometimes, doesn't it?
It did. I had to actually stop eating one time when I was drawing. I was like,
like human flesh on the day being cooked up and stuff. Yeah.
Well, and I told Drew, I was like, there was one panel in particular, and I don't think it's not in this book. I think it's in the next one. But I was like, I still have nightmares about it. And he was like, I know which one it is. He was like, that was me. I wrote that one.
Yeah, that was because the way we passed off the duties is that Drew ended up writing, having scripting duties on the two like more action heavy issues. I guess that's 3 and 4, or 4 and 5. And yeah, he really he really went all out there. So,
what did the script sound like in description for you to put pencil on paper for you to draw? What were the kinds of descriptions?
Oh, like when they like cleave someone's head in half, that kind of stuff. I do like there are a lot of descriptive things about how much blood should be shown.
Was it the one that really got you was like the slicing of the guy's face off?
Yes!
No,
That's not in this one. That's not in this one, right? Yeah.
No, that's like issue. That's coming in the next one.
I still can't, and I was like trying to research how to draw that.
I was actually going to ask you, Monica, did you have to do sort of any anatomical sort of research and things like that for, if you hit someone with an axe this way, this is what happens? Did you have to do any of that sort of stuff, or?
I didn't go too into it because it was too scary. I was afraid what
pretty full on.
would show me. But I think that's part of it too, which I love about this team is that they were kind of, there's almost a line of like it's still funny in a weird way, like a dark humor sort of way. Like all the killings are still kind of funny. So I think that lets me get away with a lot more.
This book sounds fantastic. Maybe a new Christmas tradition. I was going to say, I love it. It's funny how you got told it's too cartoony, because the amount of artists that we've had on this show that have been told they're too something, and then they've made it into the industry. It goes to show that some people at the top just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. I think what happens is that people don't necessarily understand why a particular style works with a particular subject matter. So like when Drew and I were talking about possible artists, we looked at some people who do like hyper realistic art, or very like Marvel comics kind of art, and every single time we tried to imagine the story we wanted to tell with that kind of style, we realized it would be too much, because it is a very violent story and you need some kind of distance. You need somebody who draws characters really well and can do all kinds of different scenes and has the capability of depicting violence, but is going to do it through a lens that's going to provide distance for the reader so they're not overwhelmed. Because the violence, although it's like a central part of the story, is not the point of the story, right? We're trying to, I don't want us to sound like all super sophisticated and highfalutin or whatever, but we definitely are trying to accomplish more with the book than just be gross and have cool depth. And so somebody who's able to depict drama well is better than somebody whose specialty is depicting violence. And Monica's her own work, as with the work that she writes and illustrates, is so driven by character and drama and stuff like that. We just knew that she would be a good fit for this story.
I think of it a little bit like Gabriel Rodriguez on Lock and Key, who is probably not what you'd think, who you think of as an artist for a kind of Stephen King's son doing a horror comics, right? Because he's like quite cartoony as well, not at all in the same way as Monica, but definitely that he has some peculiarities in his his background and his art that really makes it work, right? Like I think he has a background in architecture, and that book is all about like the house and the layout of everything. And I feel like choosing Monica for this book was kind of a similar kind of call, right? She has a a really like David was saying, like it really brings like a lot of heart and character to it, and also a humor that I think is just perfect for the tone of the scripts.
Yeah, because one of the things that's important for people watching us to note is that opposing the matron, and by the way, this is the second person to be the matron. Her grandmother was the first, and she was killed. And then we see in the flashback in the opening pages that she was killed in 1975 or whatever. And here, during the Great Freeze of 2021 in Texas, I don't know whether people in Australia are familiar with what happened. It was famous. No. It was famously when Senator Ted Cruz tried to leave the state and fly to Cancun because the whole state was like was out of power for like days. An entire state basically frozen in, like, you know, it was wild. Wow. And so that's when this is set, and it's kind of uses that background as a way to release the matron on this town without the normal services or police protection or whatever, and she just can like wreak havoc. But the you know, the people who oppose the matron are the main ones are this couple of college freshmen, two girls, one of whom is, and this is, it gets a little confusing, the granddaughter of the second matron, and the granddaughter of the sheriff who killed the matron. So it's a complicated thing, and they are a couple. They're like a lesbian couple, and so we needed somebody who could like also depict that relationship and those characters, like inner turmoil about being part of this family that's been in a feud for a very long time, and you know, all the trappings of a cannibalist family like you have in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but deal with it with the kind of deft touch that you need to make it like feel real and not too over the top, and definitely she's got the chops for that. So
Dave, with the matron character, sorry, Monica. Just in regards to like all the different family members and grandparents and that sort of stuff, is it some sort of genetic element to it as well? Like it's passed down in the genes somehow? That makes
I mean, because the big reveal is going to come several miniseries down the road. All I will say is that the answer is yes, but it's something that we won't reveal completely until the end. It's something that the characters in the story are going to discover bit by bit over time, and that the big reveal of what it is going to be the kind of thing that allows the characters to kind of put an end to this. I guess you could consider it a curse, or it's almost like a metaphor for intergenerational trauma, and because these characters, all the killers are women, it's also about like the treatment of women in society and women's response to being pushed into a corner and having no way out when society or the men in their lives, whatever, are trying to completely control them, and like one of the only escapes is through frankly through murder. I always want to,
not much that it takes to push a woman over the edge.
I love that Monica is, as the sole woman right now on this podcast, is expressing what I think is true. Because you see like all the like Black Widows, that most female serial killers throughout history have used very subtle means. They don't take up axes and cleave people's heads. They just murder them in their sleep and inject them with whatever. So, but we definitely wanted an axe wielding murderer. It's kind of cool.
I think that's cannibalism.
The way you guys wrote it too, David and Drew, like I think you guys did such a great job of, you're not sure if you're rooting for her or not. Like she's doing all these terrible things, and like personally, I just can't get on board with cannibalism. But the rest of it, I'm like, But you keep going back and forth. You're like, is this her fault? Is it not her fault? Yeah. Is this something inevitable? Is it not? Like, so I think that's a really great way to do it too. Yeah. You don't see that often. It's like usually the villains are so two-dimensional that it's just like just fear and just hatred rather than like.
Me and my partner are addicted to horror movies, and when we've seen a lot of cannibalism in movies, you'd be surprised how easily we can turn around and go, yeah, I can see why you'd start eating somebody. the decision just is too easy, and it's scary when you think like that. What else is scary? Let's hope not. It's too scary. Is checking out the actual Kickstarter. Let's have a look here. So the link is in the description, everybody. Otherwise, if that's too hard for you, you can just go to Kickstarter and you can just type in the Matron, and this will come up. So it's volumes 1 and 2. So does that mean you're offering the first issue again?
Right. So, I mean, people who backed the first one will, can like opt out of that, or they can get an additional issue. Basically, this is for pre-ordering the second volume. But when you pre-order it, you can, if you have not received the first one, also have that first one added. So you can get both of them. That's why it's, 1 and 2.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this video.
Yeah, there's lots of really cool things. We're actually going to have, there's the opportunity to be on the menu. So there will be a page. That's right. There will be a page with Zena Krennic. That's the name of the matron, Zena Krennic, in her kitchen with human remains. I'm sure that Monica is looking forward to drawing this. I can see the excitement in her eyes right now. And if you decide to be on the menu, your head will be among the heads. Blade there. That I suppose she's going to be like maybe carving, little. I'm Mexican American, and so in Mexican tradition, there's this the kind of food called barbacoa, which is like the head of a cow that's cooked in a underground pit, and one of the most tasty parts of it is the cheek. So I can totally see. You can see that I think about cannibalism a lot. I don't know.
Hey, apparently it's just like chicken. Let's take a look at this video. I'm just letting you know I am going to mute the video just because everybody always tells us that the music is fine, but then as soon as it's over, YouTube turns around and says it's been blocked in some countries because of the music. So we don't want it being blocked anywhere. So I'm just giving you that warning. Let's see here.
Come on, bro. At least hum or something, mate. Make it sound serious.
No communication.
Dramatic reading.
Yeah, like the subtitle. Dramatic.
Sound effects.
I'll put it on a little bit. It's all about how many seconds you put it on.
Oh, interesting.
You guys have figured it out.
Well, hopefully. We'll find out after this video.
It took us a while. I just love the fact she's got a bearded axe, because bearded axes are just cool.
Yeah, they're the best. They are. We knew that we had to have it. And her axe is actually inscribed with 2 words, smirt, which means death, and on the other side it says winter, zima, and then smirt, which are the Czech words for winter and death, in like an ancient Slavic script. So gotta have runes. You gotta have runes in these kinds of things.
Runes legitimize everything.
Yeah, exactly. You want it 100 times more spooky if you have runes in it.
So obviously these pledges are in Australian dollars, so it probably looks a lot larger than what you guys are used to.
Because their currency is shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because your currency is cheap. Oh, my heart. I'm sure the dollar would devalue soon enough. Don't worry about it.
We're already in the trash can. So.
That really, our American backers often are taken aback, and we're like, it literally says Australian dollars there, but lots of my fellow countrymen they're not good with conversion from the dollar is what then the dollar's not used everywhere in the world. What? Yeah, very, very culturally centric.
You could basically halve the prices.
For fans of Pearl, Hack, Slash, and Yellow Jackets, which I'm a fan of all 3, the Matron Volume 1, A Wind That Kills, and the Matron Volume 2, The Bite of Her Axe, are 2 52 pages. ladies and gentlemen. 52 pages each. That is massive. Horror graphic novels from award-winning creators David Bowles. I don't want to mispronounce it.
No, you got
it. And Drew Edwards. This is the Matron. Your girlfriend's grandmother turns out to be a cannibal slasher. You think you've had bad dates. Okay. Let's scroll
Season's
through.
greetings.
The PDF of volume, the PDF of Volume 1 is in almost every reward tier, and you can pick up the print copy of Volume 1 in selected reward tiers or as an add-on to your order. So Volume 2, The Bite of Her Axe. I really dig that title. Who comes up with the titles?
So the titles all come from a song about the matron that in this fictional universe is sung by children at school. Kind of, you remember in the Nightmare on Elm Street films, there's that little song about,
Yeah. One, two, Freddy's coming for you.
Yeah. So there's something similar about the matron, and the title, the title of these 3 volumes comes from that song,
Right.
which I wrote. So
here is the sequential art from The Bite of Her Axe.
And you see her coming home. She's coming home after having killed her bosses who had just laid her off. And she's washing the blood off her hands and going to sleep on the sofa.
She's pretty casual about it.
It's just like, And then the guy, a state employee comes to give her the check for additional money for moving because their house has been picked up by eminent domain. Like the state has allowed it to be forcibly purchased. And because the house is not in her name, it's in her older brother's name, she didn't realize this has happened. So this is her finding out that not only has she lost her job, she has lost her home as well. And she doesn't take it well, shall we say.
My partner is telling me to move the speakers, and I do not know what she means because the speakers are in the laptop. So thank you. Keep scrolling.
And so this is her. She's been hiding the tools of the trade of her grandmother, and dealing with her own urges to be a serial killer as well by reading a lot of true crime and just like keeping it down and like working a hard job or whatever. But at this point, she's just like, okay, I'm going to take up the mask and do what my grandmother did.
Who came up with the mask design?
So after we saw this effigy of Marana that was burned by children in Moravia in the Czech Republic, we had my oldest daughter. She's a tattoo artist and graphic designer and illustrator and painter. We showed it to her and we said, "Can you take this mask and simplify it and make it like more iconic?" And so she was the one who chose that particular design, which now we have like retroactively turned into kind of like a sacred sigil of the goddess Marana, the lines and stuff like that. So it's I think it's like really evocative. It looks a little bit like, maybe some people say it looks kind of like a kabuki mask from Japanese theater, something like that. And it does have a little bit of that, but it's definitely drawn from Slavic tradition.
Bo, I was just thinking, when we did an album cover show, so Bo and I are both metalheads, and we did a show a couple of weeks ago about our favourite album covers. And there's a band that I love from Italy called Elven King, and they've done an album called The Scythe, and Marana sounds very, very much like the character that they've used on the album cover. And I think that's the same sort of legend. It's very cool. She represents winter.
Yeah, I encourage people to just do a search on Marana, and you'll find so many neat things. And there's a lot of Slavic metal bands that have songs about Marana and stuff like that. So it's just really, really great. So yeah, you can see in that we see her in the sequential art killing her older brother for having sold her house out from under her. But yeah, like this is great. We're gonna have another main cover by Monica with foil. Presumably the foil is going to be the blood again, right? Have they told you?
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
That's what I was about to ask. I'm like, which part of this is going to be foil? Because I bet you if I saw this picture before the foil, I wouldn't have known it would have been specifically in these parts.
Yeah.
So you bet your ass I'm going to be getting that foil cover to match this one.
Yeah.
That foil blood looks amazing.
You've got me at foil.
And then we have a really great variant cover.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I love it so much. So many artists have just like really, responded to it, and have really wanted to do their own take on the character. I think it's so great. So we're gonna have there's Jerry. Oh my gosh, the boss man has spoken. Yes.
Yes, Jerry's a great guy. We like Jerry.
He's incredible. I've been working with him for a long time. I have books published with IFWG, and he's my bestest mate. So yeah, you can see. This is so great. So you were talking about the fact that this is a flip.
Yes,
book, because what we did was, so the one person survives the original Matron, right? And he comes into the story later on. He's in his 70s now, and so we in universe he became an FBI profiler, and his name is Ezekiel Gavin, and he wrote his memoir, and so I wrote like the first chapter of it, and it was like the prologue, and we did it up as if it were a book that were published in the 80s that was then made into a Lifetime original movie, which I don't know if that joke hits in Oz, but
no, it's great. It's great.
It's just, like the idea of a Lifetime original movie about a serial killer woman. It's just like, it's great. You can just imagine how cheesy it was.
So I'm so dumb that when I saw that and it says here now a Lifetime original movie, I started Googling for the movie.
That's good. I love it.
Authentic.
It wasn't until my partner Claudia's turned around and she goes, "No, dickhead, look, they're talking, they're saying that it's a memoir about someone that survived the Matron." And I went, "I knew that."
She's like, "You're not one for subtlety, are you, honey?"
But it was a great idea. I really thought it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I laugh every time I hear the title.
Punching Death.
It just makes like
It's perfect because he's so dramatic. I mean,
he's such a
legit, but his own ego kind of makes himself a caricature. Like, it's just,
And it sounds very 80s as well.
Monica draws it so well. She depicts him as like this, he looks like a grizzled. Here he is, like this grizzled. He like affects like this really cowboy kind of personality. But he's a bit of a chicken shit. Oh my god! And the only reason he was able to punch the Matron is because she takes her mask off. Because that like takes her powers away, and then here we see like the characters kind of with some descriptions of them. And
there's obviously a lot to read here as well, everybody. So I do implore you to go to Kickstarter and really take a look at all this stuff. There's so much information, which is so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because we're dealing in this first miniseries, which is essentially like 6 issues of a comic, with just a couple of days, like over the course of 3 days. But the universe is dense because there's a lot we're going to be doing with it, and people who jump on board now are going to be along for like a really really fun ride, I think. Jerry's back there going, "Well, I mean, if it's economically successful, David." But I think it will. I think people will find it fun.
I love how you can download the PDF as well.
Yeah, it's great. Of that initial
Punching Death.
Eventually we'll have a movie, and there'll be a movie within the movie, like stab in the
yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at let's see, the physical rewards. So this says this year, June, July, August.
Good work, Tate. Backed already.
Nice one.
Splendid.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the other things that we have are the annotated screenplays. So you can see annotated script rather. I'm really projecting. And so the first one.
You're manifesting.
Yes, there you go, manifesting.
I like it.
And they have covers that are done by my children. So all 3 of my children are artists.
That is.
It's just it's
Wow.
really great. So those
So
are the
good.
first two right there. But my middle daughter, who is an illustrator, just turned in the third one. So, but that's for the next campaign. So, that's my son Angelo, his interpretation of the Matron, and we just like it. We want to have just putting this out there. Artists who would like to have, maybe to submit art as possible pinups for upcoming issues, volumes. We'd love to have it. Please send it along.
Chuck a few variant covers into your issues. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd just like to, I guess, just clarify that. So we're doing the 3 Kickstarter volumes, and each one is 2 issues. So when David said it's a 6-issue miniseries, like each volume is 2 issues.
Yes, thank you for clarifying.
Hence that page count of 52 pages, right?
If it's 2 issues.
54 pages.
And then,
52.
and this is a great way. I mean, one of the great things about this Kickstarter is that it affords people the opportunity to get the story now and not wait until, I was going to say spring, summer, but I realized talking to people in the Southern Hemisphere until, May, June, July of next year before being able to get them in comic stores, because these will be released eventually as individual comics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
look
so
at these session rewards. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Do people take you up on this a bit?
Yeah.
Wow.
You get backers who want it. I mean, it's a great opportunity. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but I'm an Eisner nominated writer, and I've won a bunch of other awards for like novels and that I've written. Got 40 books to my name. I think that I could give some people some really interesting guidance, and I think that Drew, who's been doing an indie comic for 25 years, that's growing strong, or Monica, who's just an incredible artist with a lot of really successful titles under her belt, and Jerry and Jay, all these people. I mean, there's a wealth of talented people who are willing to have one-on-one conversations with people who back us. So
That's nice too, because that really leans into the community aspect of what Kickstarter is great for. It's building that community and encouraging the creation of more comics.
I'm just looking at all the different ways to back it and deciding which one I'm going to go for. I'm
just saying, I think your head would be great on that menu. I'm just throwing something seems particularly edible about your head.
Wow. Well, look, for now, I'm definitely going to get the foil 2 at least. And we'll see how we go when it gets closer to the day.
Yeah.
So let's do that one. So at least I get that. Okay, we don't need to see my password and stuff, so we'll remove that. Now, Steve, you did some diving into this last night, didn't you?
I did a bit, mate. Yeah. And pretty much everything I was going to ask David when he did his opening monologue said everything I wanted to ask.
I'm terrible at that.
I'm like, I've got this question, I've got this to ask, and David's covered it all. But I love a lot of mystery and legends and stuff from all around the world. So the whole Slavic influence and the Slavic sort of legends and myths and all that sort of stuff, it's a very, very cool part of the world where a lot of cool stuff comes from. So when I read that, I'm like, oh, this is really cool how you've incorporated this into it.
Tate is saying, sadly, he could only afford the PDF at the moment, but will he get access to the survival novel?
Yes, absolutely. You can get access to that. In fact, it's what we're doing is like a chapter per Kickstarter. So, you'll get access to whatever chapter of the novel is available in that Kickstarter PDF. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think you could download the first one for free off the Kickstarter page.
I believe that's true. Yep.
Oh man, that's so good though. Moving forward. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say about the survival novel about punching death. One of the fun things was like trying to format it in like the way those trade paperbacks, those mass trade paperbacks from the 80s were, like the Bantam paperbacks, whatever. Like what was the font that was used? What's the kerning? What's the spacing? And that was just
like that.
Ridiculous things like that. I spent an entire day. Yeah, there you go. That sort of thing. An entire day trying to figure out how to make it look, because I did the cover. I used some of my daughter's art and then some of my own like corny stuff. Yeah.
Do you want me to show it or not?
Every time I bring you up, you check it down.
Yeah, that sort of thing right there, and like the yellowing of the pages, and it was.
Yes. Oh God, stop it.
So look, we individually, Sharif, myself, and Steve recently anyway, we are very big collected edition people. So what I want to know is once you've pumped out a few Matron issues, are you going to be doing trades or hardcover?
Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
The idea, and Jason can correct me if I'm wrong, or Jerry can like ardently pop into the chat with corrections. The idea is we do this. We have these 3, obviously just Kickstarter available, like mini graphic novels, 52-page graphic novels. Then the whole series is released as individual floppies, and then we have a trade graphic novel.
Fantastic.
Exactly right.
Following year. And so, yeah, whether that'll be out in hardcover as well, I'm not certain. It certainly seems like may as well, but I mean, I'm not the person. I don't have to fund that, so I can say that all day long. Sounds like a good idea to me. And Jerry's like, oh.
The formats that are coming out are a little unconventional because you're collecting each collection has 2 issues. And you're going to do 3 volumes, and then you're going to do the single issues?
That's correct.
That's right, because the single issues are for, distribution through normal comic book channels into shops, right? These are exclusively Kickstarter editions. So, the extras that you get will not be in the individual floppies, and it'll be up to Jerry and the editorial team as to, what they want to have in the trade that collects all 6 issues together. But so I know that there are talks about releasing all the 6 annotated scripts as a single volume, because they also comes with like essays and behind the scenes chats between Drew and me, and some early sketches and stuff like that. So they're chock full of extras as well. And we want like you guys, we're into collecting as well. Monica, I don't know how big a collector you are. And Drew is like crazy about collecting stuff. You saw from his house.
I am, and I'm not precious about comics because I think they should be read, not just like preserved forever and never opened.
Yes.
So I don't do that whole keep things packaged. I want to like spill coffee on it and I want it to be like well read, well loved. So, but yeah, I definitely still have way too many books.
Yeah, I love like getting the floppies and then getting the trade paperback, and then I can put the floppies away and just like read. And yeah.
I was going to say what I do is once the collected edition comes out, I'll buy that, and then all the single issues I give away. Or sell during Comics Curing Cancer, which is an annual event, and we raise money. And that's really cool. Now, Jason, I haven't heard enough from you, so I'm going to put you on the spot here. I don't know if this question is for you, and I apologize ahead of time, but we're going to try it anyway. What's the most important aspect of a good creative team dynamic? Because I'm sensing one after talking to you guys. What is the important aspect of a good creative team dynamic in a comic book project such as this?
I think everybody has to be aligned on telling the best story possible using, the combination of words and artwork. And once the team is kind of understands that, then you're cooking with gas. If you get people, I guess, arguing because they're being maybe precious about something in the script or something in the art that's not kind of gelling, then you start to. I think then the quality of the book is not as good. And like in a project like this one, David and Drew and Monica, I was saying, before we started recording, like they're a dream team, right? I really don't have to do much of anything. Once the scripts are kind of edited, the team all they work everything out. We have these long email threads. And it's so easy to edit these guys. I couldn't ask for better.
That's great.
Yeah, Jerry brings up the fact that we should definitely mention the other members of our team. Harry Saxon, the colorist. Oh my gosh! I mean, that's another element, like the color scheme. So you would typically think of a horror novel like this to be like dark and somber, or whatever, but it's so bright and colorful. And it works. It's because of the slightly tongue-in-cheek, but not tongue-in-cheek kind of maybe tongue and cheek on the grill kind of tongue-in-cheek on the Bobby. The color works perfectly. And then of course, oh my God, Steve, our letterer is so amazing, just nailing the difference in speech patterns between the matron as the matron and when she's Xena and so forth, and just great SFX and so forth. So I mean, we have a really solid team. It's after that first issue was done, things just started gelling, and then as you are wont to say in Oz, yeah, definitely we're cooking with gas. It's great. Firing on all cylinders. Yeah.
I did get a lot of compliments on the sound effects. People were saying like they hadn't seen those specific sound effects. Like certain ones were like wunk and like I don't know. They just like had like connotation to them.
And some of it is definitely. I'm not a good sound effects person, but Drew loves sound effects.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I've definitely drawn sound effects that are the thing itself. Like I've drawn someone going like this, and it's like gesture. So I'm terrible. Not sure.
Oh, Steve K is the letterer.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we love Steve. He's a good bloke. So, Monica, who's your inspirations for art? And on a second question to follow up is, do you see your art evolving or changing, or do you think this is you for life? How does it work for yourself with your art?
Well, my influence is probably surprising no one, was a lot of manga, like Rumiko Takahashi and ElfQuest, who was like my first comic that I was obsessed with. So Wendy Penny. Then I got into like Adrian Tomine and Daniel Klaus, and kind of like, I always want my style to look really simple, and it's just not. Like people ask me all the time at conventions and stuff, like, how do you develop your style? I'm like, well, sorry, it's just going to happen to you. Like, it's not really up to you. You can try to mimic other people, but it's always just going to be your own. So yeah, one of the unfortunate things, and I don't know if other artists feel this way, I feel like my style just constantly changes. And it's hard sometimes when you are working on a long project, because, the first page and the last page are going to look like totally different. And that's just like not something that's easy to, I always reference like the initial character sketches that I made in hopes of making it at least like seem like it's stable. But yeah, I feel like it just evolves no matter what.
That always fascinates me, because I can't draw for the life of me. And I always think, if I ever manage to draw something and say, okay, I am now an artist and I can do this, I can't imagine being so good then saying, oh yeah, I'm going to change it up now and evolve. It's like, no, this is all I can do. So I find that fascinating. ElfQuest is the best used to role play the character in elementary school, running around and act the stories out.
Monica, could you go through with us your design process for with the character designs? How did you base the look of each character, and how it ended up with?
Well, I was really lucky because David and Drew gave me they gave me character references for every single character. For the most part, I think. Yeah, like which is, thank God, because there gets to be a point where there's like, all of a sudden there's like 17 characters, and like me and Harry were both like, what are you doing to us? Like,
but it was like literally there was like a method to the madness, because the point is that there's so many people living in this house. Xena she has taken on the responsibility of being the matriarch of a very large extended family in economic situations where all of them have eventually like lost their livelihoods of their homes, and they're all living together. And so this government agent, like as he's there and she's yelling and freaking out, more and more people keep coming down. It's like kind of like this really funny visual joke. And I just knew that I was like, oh my God, Monica's gonna hate us. But it was necessary. We even have the government official at one point going, how many people live in this house?
Yeah, like a clown car.
That even shocked me. Like when I was editing the script, I'm like, what? There's where are these people in the house?
I know. It's like you can't kill them off fast enough.
Right. They seem to be dispatched pretty quickly though. So yeah, like literally one of them gets an axe to the head within the first couple pages after that. So,
yeah.
So it's like the clown car in the circus where so many clowns are coming out from the small car.
Yeah.
But it is such a huge help as an artist to have any kind of reference. Just otherwise, we find it on our own. But and then trying to make sure, it's always the hardest is like trying to make them consistent and different enough so that people know who's who, or kind of like you don't want them to like come together too much and all like look like the same person. So.
And but one of the things that I've found about, and this may just be like what happens all the time, but you take those references and then because they're references to like actual people, usually actors, you give it just enough of a tweak that resemblance kind of is like muddled a little bit. So and you give them their own like little personality. So like Zeke Gavin. I think the reference that Drew gave you was what's his name? Robert Englund from the who plays Freddy. But you can see it a little bit when he's younger. But most people are not familiar with the way Robert Englund looked like when he was in his 20s. So he's older. It's like lost because of the big handlebar mustache and so forth.
In that cowboy hat.
Like
that's kind of like a different layer too that you guys added into it, because a lot of the reference were homages to other famous horror movies, horror movie actors. So I thought that was
that brings me to this really interesting point that I think it's kind of fun to mention since we're talking about references. At first we were going to have the matron just be like this silent, and she was just the only thing she was going to say is I am winter, I am death, and that was just going to be like. But as Drew started like writing her, he just felt like she wanted to say stuff. And basically what it ended up being was that she quotes other serial killers, other slashers and so it's kind of like this great little running gag where she's saying things to people, but they're quotes from serial killers because she's a true crime fan. She's been reading true crime all her life. Since she was 12 and her grandmother died at the hands of the police.
Wonder why she's so messed up.
Yeah. This is a girl who we discover in some of the in the final issues, definitely had a very different childhood than other children in the hill countries of Texas. So yeah.
I forgot about a feature that StreamYard has recently done, and that is the QR code. So I should have had that up earlier, but if you do scan that, it will take you straight to the Kickstarter. So go check it out. We also would be remiss if we did not give a shout out to our 4 lifers. We want each and every one of these people to check out the Kickstarter as well. These are our members that do pay $1 or $2 each and every month to get some perks and join an Instagram chat and whatnot. If that's something that interests you, click the link and join. Otherwise, if you do want to support Aussieverse the best way, the free way, then all you need to do is subscribe and like the videos. The other thing that we have forgotten to do during the video is a word from our sponsor, Comic Bookaroo. Comic Bookaroo, proud sponsors of Aussieverse for all your comic book needs. Graphic novels, hardcovers, omnibuses, single issues. Don't forget to pre-order every Sunday at Comic Bookaroo. All righty, Tate. What do you got going on here? The Matron Volume 1 and 2. Oh, there you go. Thank you very much.
Graphic novels, hardcovers, omnibus.
What's going on there?
You love the sound of your own voice.
I don't know what happened then, but that was really weird. So, how much of this have you got finished now, or have you got? Is it only the second issue, or what's the time limit on these constantly coming out?
Yeah, I mean, all 6 issues are written, and mostly, for the most part. Are you done already with?
I'm almost on issue 6.
Almost done with issue 6.
Yeah.
So basically, most of the art is locked in and good to go. And then Drew and I have already begun sketching out the second miniseries. So we're definitely hoping that people really enjoy this first experience with the Matron and want more. Just like Halloween 2, that picks up right after the end of Halloween. That's what we want to do with the second miniseries. So we've got that sketched out, 6 issues for that as well. We haven't started writing the script yet, but we're kind of just preparing ourselves. And we're also in the middle of writing a prequel novel. So hopefully for the third Kickstarter, that will be like a little add-on that people can get, a prequel novel that is set in the same town. That's not about the Matron, but it's about the town itself and the weird, supernatural bizarreness of the town. A little bit like Twin Peaks meets like Riverdale or something like that. Just like
Riverdale.
Steve will be all about
a weird town with teens doing funky stuff.
I was just saying Steve will be down for that because he likes books without pictures sometimes.
I do. I like to read.
It will definitely have a great cover by Monica. She's been told that we want her to do it. She's probably still waiting for like actual details about this and like an estimate on how much we're willing to fork out to her, because she's a really great and sought after artist.
Well, this has been fantastic. I really hope that it gets over that mark, and not only that, but it kicks it in the dirt. Is it the same financial goal as the first issue?
Yeah,
or is it?
It's the same, and then we would definitely, like, just like we did with the first one, if we roll over that, there will be really, really cool stretch goals that we will put in place. And we definitely want to give people, the biggest bang for their buck. And we have all kinds of really neat ideas and some proposed perks kind of like hidden up our sleeve that we will pull out if we get to that point. So we'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys are definitely such a great world. There's so much you can do with it. Like, it's so layered.
Yeah.
You really set it up so well.
Yeah, we're about to send out Matron Christmas cards, so I can't imagine poor sobs are going to get that shit in the mail. They're really we
should have made little like head ornaments or something.
Yeah, right.
It's next year.
Christmas dinner will never be the same again.
No.
Well, this has been fantastic. We're really, really appreciative to IPI Comics and all the people there for hooking this conversation up. It's always wonderful to meet new creators, new books, and this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys so much for coming down.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for having us.
Anytime you guys want to come back, let us know when you've got more work on. We would love to have you guys on. I'm really looking forward to reading more of this Matron.
Thank you.
In saying that, we've got one last question for you of the day. I don't know if Jerry or any of the other people worded you guys up. We're about to find out. The most important question is simply, I'll start that again. If I was to turn around to you, Jason, and say, what is Aussieverse? What would your answer be?
A verse full of Aussies. I should have rhymed that, shouldn't I?
Monica, what is Aussieverse?
A magical, mystical place full of nerds.
Okay. And David, same, sir.
Oh my gosh. Ew. Like the first I hear Aussieverse, I'm like, it's a fictional universe based on Ozzy Osbourne's lyrics. Clearly,
it's definitely down for that.
Yeah, clearly an amazing place for talking about great creative work. So it's been wonderful.
Stick around just after the intro because people do tend to disappear and want to say goodbye to you guys properly, so don't go anywhere. Unfortunately, though, your answers were completely incorrect. As great answers as they were, the real answer is Aussieverse is and always will be what, boys? 4
For life.
All right.
Catch you next time.